Hello, welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyebolisi. As always, it promises to be another fun-filled show where we analyze, dissect, and inform on sporting matters from European scene to the local scene, not forgetting tennis and Formula One. I do this in the company of Albert David, and one of the juiciest parts of the show is where we give you a rundown from possible outcomes of games. So we call it the Tipsters Corner, and this is specially dedicated to punters. So it is the full package, the totality of what a sports show is. Once again, it is Sports Pizza if you're joining us for the very first time. Let's go on a short break. When we return, I'll introduce David, and we will unpack all that we have on the show for you today. Don't change the channel. Welcome back from that short break. David, it's good to have you on set. How you doing?
Yeah, Edwin, I'm good as always. I mean, anytime I'm here on set, it's fantastic to always be doing this with you. I'm sure you're good as well.
Yes, David, a fantastic week for me, sporting-wise, and also personally. A lot of stuff have been going on the ground. Yeah, we're praying for growth.
Absolutely.
That is the theme for 2025. We're talking about growth. David, let's start with the Spanish La Liga. Barcelona have grown in leaps and bounds in 2025, unbeaten so far. And the question is, who will stop them from doing another treble? Now, they have two trebles. Now, they did the first treble in 2008-2009, Pep Guardiola's first season. Then you fast forward to 2014-2015, Luis Enrique's first season with the famed MSN. They did another treble. This time around, David, they are closer than a lot of people think. And a manager who has done the treble before, albeit with Bayern Munich, is leading the charge. Who will stop them this season?
I don't think there's anybody. I think the only person I might have, the only team I'm really optimistic about is Inter Milan in the Champions League. I think Inter Milan look very strong based on how they perform. But I think Barcelona are just looking unstoppable at this point. Everything is coming together. I think they've come into 2025 and it seems like Flick outlined all the mistakes of 2024 and then they started ticking them up and they've removed all those mistakes. Fine, you watch them and you feel there's still chances for opponents, but they are not being punished. And I think when they get their own chances, they are ruthless with it.
And what has changed from the Xavi era to the Flick era? Because a large crop of these players played under Xavi, and Xavi kept on reiterating that, hey, I need quality. The quality in this team is not good enough. Now, you look at the summer transfer signings they made. Dani Olmo, I think, is the biggest of the lot. Not much has changed from Xavi's era to Flick's era. What has changed on the field that we've seen Barcelona rise from pretenders to challengers to potentially being the best team in Europe?
I think for me, Hansi Flick has identified what his team is about, identified the style of play. For Xavi, there was the whole talk of they want the tiki-taka era to return. But with Flick, there's no such expectation. And I think what he has done, his style of football is exactly what Barcelona need at this point in time. I watched them over the weekend, and the moment Pedri gets the ball, his first instinct is to get the ball into some of the passes he was playing with direct, but it's not something you are traditionally used to with Barcelona. You expect them to try to play it around, but their first instinct is direct. They're all about creating chances and getting to the final third as quickly as possible. David,
same cannot be said of their arch-rivals, Real Madrid. That loss to Arsenal in the first leg, I thought that was the last straw that broke the camel's back. For a lot of Madrid fans, majority of them felt like, hey, this team cannot move forward under Carlo Ancelotti. Do you share that sentiment?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of recency bias and not a lot of introspection, looking at what he did last season with that squad. It's in similar circumstances again, and now it's more difficult. I think for me, for the last almost 18 months now, he has not had full complement of his squad to work with. For any other manager in the world, excuses would have been rolled out, but for Ancelotti, it just seems like the standard for him is much higher. Fine, there are points to be made about how the team is performing. It's not optimum, but you look at these players themselves. Ancelotti is someone who likes to give players, possibilities to provide solutions for themselves. But unfortunately, those players are not providing those solutions, and I think, but it's not crash and burn situation right now. Solutions can still be found.
Do you think that he will continue as Real Madrid's manager regardless of what happens at the end of the season?
Do I want him to continue? I think yes. I think he's still the best man for all the options that are out there right now. Uncertainties. There's talk of Xabi Alonso. We see what his Leverkusen are doing right now. They are beginning to run out of steam. Will he be able to step up to the big job? Ancelotti is still the man. I mean, he's the ultimate yes businessman. He's a company man. He will always, not ruffle feathers. He will always do the job, no matter the circumstances presented with. I think for Perez, their working relationship is good. I think they've sacrificed a lot of recruitment over the last couple of years. They decided that they want to do it, the unusual way. The Galacticos era they're not doing it the usual way. They're not spending the big bucks. They're just getting the very best of talent. But they need massive recruitment right now.
All right, away from that, let's talk about your darling club, Arsenal, David. And it feels like Arteta has been shot into a new dimension.
Yeah.
Now, the conversation around him before the Real Madrid tie was that he's a nearly man. Yes, he's still a nearly man. I wouldn't call him a nearly man. That's unfair. He's won the FA Cup. Arsenal fans would point to that.
Yeah.
But he's taken Arsenal from the depth of ridicule to a position where they can challenge for the biggest titles. And it comes with pressure, not just for the players, but also for Mikel Arteta. Now, the idea is that this is the level we want to operate in, and anything short of that will be seen as failure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for a lot of people, they tend to forget that Arteta, this is 5 years plus in an Arsenal, but this is 5 years plus in as a manager at this level. So I think there's a lot of learning that has had to be undergone in his career. He talked about undergoing a 5-stage plan. He's talking about this is phase 5 now. This phase is where they will face the biggest teams and actually perform on those stages. And I think with the Real Madrid result, I think he has actually shown that yes, there's a phase that they're actually in, and it's a gradual process. This is where they are now going to get to and become consistent.
Are Arsenal in danger of losing Mikel Arteta at some point? Maybe not in the immediate, but maybe at the end of next season, possibly 2 seasons from now. Are they in danger of that because his stock has risen? Yeah,
absolutely. I think there's a big danger of that. You look at the fact that with the work he has done, a lot of has been made about he has not won titles, but I'm sure bigger teams will be looking at this is a man, if we bring him in and give him better resources, there is somebody who can guarantee titles. Maybe Arsenal as a club cannot guarantee him those titles, but there's more that can be offered. I don't know what you think about it.
Yeah, I also think there's a transition in the coaching world. The old guards are gradually phasing out. We have a new young crop of managers emerging. Yeah, a lot of them are littered in the quote-unquote smaller clubs and stuff like that. So you expect that the big clubs will at some point appoint these guys to become their head coaches. And with Mikel Arteta, I think he seems to be the best among the bunch right now of the young managers emerging. And who says that in the near future, Real Madrid can look at him and say, okay, Carlo, maybe your time is up, and tempt Arteta. That is the biggest job in the world, even bigger than the Brazilian national team job. So I don't think it's also going to be foolhardy to expect Arteta to remain at Arsenal for the rest of his career. This is not the area where managers tend to stay for a prolonged period at the club. The only reason you can stay at the club for a long stretch is down to success, like Pep Guardiola. He's done like accumulated level of success. So yeah, I think he can leave. But I don't think he will leave without winning a major title for Arsenal. And finally, David, the UEFA Champions League. Now, at the start of the campaign, we had a conversation, and I felt like the top 16 or whatever teams should qualify automatically. The whole idea of giving second chance to the big teams is unfair. Do you get? Now, the argument against that was that, hey, the knockout fixtures were going to be boring, were going to be low quality. And I think that has played out. Because in hindsight, if you are a sponsor, you've doled out hundreds of millions of dollars to UEFA, you want to see the Real Madrid versus Arsenal. You want to see the Inter Milan versus Bayern Munich. Now, no disrespect to Club Brugge, no disrespect to Monaco and the likes. That is not why I'm giving UEFA 100 million euros or 100 million pounds, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think even from the playoffs that we saw, everybody was very clear that this was, quality that was supposed to be delivered. We saw a lot of the big teams. Real Madrid turned up in style because we knew what was at stake. Elimination was on the line. So I think it's really, at this level, you want to see the best of the best teams, how they are going to arrive at it. I mean, UEFA found a way around it, but they always want to get quality on display.
Yeah, David, you're correct. The UEFA Champions League is the pinnacle of club football. Some have argued in recent times that it is getting to that level where we can compare the FIFA World Cup and the UEFA Champions League. But hey, that is not a debate I want to have right now. All right, at this point, we'll go on a short break. When we return, there's more on the other side. Don't change the channel. It is Sports Pizza with Edwin and David. Welcome back to the second half of the show. If you're joining us for the very first time, this is Sports Pizza. It's a sports show where we give you the very best of analysis, we inform you, we educate you, and of course, there's a light-hearted entertainment as the side dish. David, let's come home, and Nigerian football is still in mourning mood. Yeah. The former captain of the national team, that's formerly known as Green Eagles, Christian Chukwu, passed on to eternal glory at the age of 74. He was the first Nigerian captain to lift the African Cup of Nations title at the National Stadium in Surulere against Algeria. That final must be said 3-0 in favor of Nigeria. And what a loss to Nigerian football. He went on to represent the country over 50 times. He was the manager of the Super Eagles between 2003 and 2005. Took us to the African Cup of Nations in 2004, where we won the bronze medal. David, Christian Chukwu was one of those figures who felt like a myth. But it wasn't a myth. It was actually a human.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, players of that era, of that generation, when we talk about it, even though some of us were not born at that time, but when we talk about them, the fact that their legacy still extends even up until now, it tells you how much they emphasize. You know, not just players as footballers, but as what they represented as human beings. Christian Chukwu was nicknamed chairman. There's a reason why he was nicknamed chairman. He was the leader of men, an actual leader. You know, we don't have a lot of that in this generation. I'm not trying to compare, but I'm just telling you how much these guys really meant to Nigerian football. Player, manager, fantastic human being.
I don't think it's going to be too much to ask the federal government to immortalize him. Off air, we talked about Rashidi Yekini, the late Rashidi Yekini. I don't think it's too much if you name the top scorer award in honor of Rashidi Yekini. Let's honor this man. Same with Stephen Keshi, another huge figure in Nigerian football. And David, from everyone in the Sports Pizza family, we extend our condolences to the Chukwu family. We pray that God, who comforts the family and grant them the fortitude to bear this loss. All right, away from that, David, let's head straight to Bahrain, Formula One, and McLaren. I'm sure that they are the team to beat. Oscar Piastri first, George Russell second, and Lando Norris third. It was quite impressive for Lando Norris, from 6th position to 3rd, and he also had a 5-second penalty.
I think for me, he put himself in a difficult situation, but I think he showed his quality by recovering from that. I mean, we almost had another McLaren 1-2. It's very funny right now. We are getting McLaren 1-2s a lot in Formula 1. I think they are showing that they are the best team on the grid. Their lead on the Constructors' Championship is widening like a gap because they have 2 solid drivers. I think for Piastri, he set a mark that I don't want to be. I'm not second. If there are people that were doubting when we say, oh, Lando Norris is first choice, absolutely not. He's sending a statement, I'm here to compete, and I'm also having a chance for the championship. For Max Verstappen, I mean, he's having a difficult time. He's a good driver, but he's not been dealt a very good hand with it by his team Red Bull. They are going to struggle a lot. What he delivered last weekend was not enough. I think for me, they will have a difficult time. McLaren will still be the team to be. Who is not going to be? I think the Drivers' Championship is still a toss-up between Lando Norris and I think at the end of the season there might be a difficulty to see who is going to be the winner. And
for the Ferraris, we had Charles Leclerc in 4th and Lewis Hamilton in 5th position. Straight up, let's go to the world of tennis quickly. And he won his 18th ATP title. Talking about the man himself, Carlos Alcaraz, and it was his 6th Masters 1000 titles. And Monte Carlo, Lorenzo Musetti tried his best, but he couldn't withstand the onslaught in the 2nd and 3rd set. It ended 3-6, 6-1, 6-love for Carlos Alcaraz.
I mean, the man is an enigma. This is his first 1,000 title in 13 months. The last one was, March last year. It's been a long time coming for him. And I think for me, the consistency is still what a lot of us are asking.
Yeah.
We've seen Yannick Sinner fine, there's question marks about, but I think he delivers more consistency than Alcaraz. Alcaraz is almost as equally talented. He's somebody who a lot is expected from him. But it's good this victory comes on the back, just at the brink of entering into the clay season. Hopefully, he will now find his group again. Roland Garros on the way. I don't know what to think about Carlos Alcaraz.
Yeah, I think he's tried too hard to be like the great players.
Yeah.
He wants to be like Novak in this game. He wants to be like Nadal in the next game. He wants to be like Federer. Sometimes he forgets that he's a competitor. He tends to play to the crowd, and it has cost him a lot, lapse in concentration and stuff like that. But if he's focused, I think he's the best player on tour. Yeah. Hands down, the best player on tour. But that consistency is lagging in his game, and that is what the Italian Yannick Sinner has. Like you said, there are asterisks over Yannick Sinner the last couple of years, but it's going to be back. So it's going to be a fascinating Roland Garros in May. Looking for his 100th ATP title. He's still somewhere there. Yeah. Then you have Sinner back. Then you have the usual suspects. There's Zverev, Medvedev, and the like. So it's going to be an exciting clay season. Too much talk, David. Let's go on another break. This time we'll be giving you our video for the week. When we return, it's going to be the Tipsters Corner, and we have a couple of games for you. Welcome back. It is the Tipsters Corner. Straight up, David. We have 3 games for our punters. Yeah. In England, it is Newcastle versus Aston Villa. This is a Champions League tie. Yeah. It is a playoff. In Italy, we have Milan versus Atalanta. And in Spain, the big one in San Mamés, it is Athletic Club versus Real Madrid. Where do we start? Let's start with Athletic Club and Real Madrid. It's going to be a fascinating game. It's going to be an open game. There are going to be goals in this tie. Yeah. I'm going for over 1.5 in this one. If you go through the history of this fixture, there's always been goals. It's also going to be difficult for Real Madrid in San Mamés. But I think they'll do enough to get something from this game. If you're bold enough, you can go for Real Madrid to win either half. You can go for Real Madrid to score at least 2 goals. That is good value. You can go for both teams to score. I'm talking for the good values. Now, if you are scared, you can go for Athletic Club with 2 goals ahead. So you're giving them handicap 2 ahead. It means that if they lose by a goal, that ticket still flies. But if they lose by 2 goals, that ticket doesn't fly. So I'm giving them handicap 2. It means that they have a 2-goal head start against Real Madrid. I'll go for anybody win in this one. So those are my options for the game in San Mamés between Athletic Club and Real Madrid. Yeah, solid options. I think for me, now to the Newcastle versus Aston Villa game, the Champions League play of the Athletic Quality. I think for me, there's going to be goals. I think Aston Villa goal scorers generally. I think Newcastle also have goals in them. And I looked at the odds for the 1.5 goals in this one. I mean, it's very overpriced. When you see that kind of price, you have to jump on it for that kind of. So over 1.5 goals looks very good. Both teams to score as well. Both teams will also deliver goals. Or if you want to go high, you can go for over 2.5. One of these teams is going to win 2-1. I'm calling it right now. So it's going to be 2-1 on either side. So anybody win also looks like a good option. I'm not sure who is going to go with the 3 points, but there's going to be a 3 points winner in this one. All right. So finally, in the Italian Serie A, it is Milan versus Atalanta. Last time Milan against Udinese, it was 4 goals for them. And with Milan, you tend to have goals in their games. I'm going for over 1.5. What do you think? Yeah, I think it's a good option. I mean, for that price, when you look at the odds for that outcome in that game, it looks very good. Both teams will give you goals. For Milan, goals always appear. It's either they are on the end of it or they are the ones delivering it. So goals will be there. Atalanta also, even though they hit a snag a few weeks ago, they found, they always give you goals with Lukman, with Retegui. So I think goals will be good. Both teams to score as well. Looks very good. Atalanta are not a defensive team. AC Milan cannot defend. So I think there will be goals on both sides. How about the result option? Anybody win? Yeah, anybody win. I don't think we draw. I don't think a draw will come. So anybody to win in this one. All right. Disclaimer: Sports Pizza is not liable for any bet loss. We're just here to give you our experts' opinions on the games you will come across this weekend. And please do bet responsibly. And this is where we draw curtains on today's edition of the show. David, always a pleasure doing this with you.
Yeah, absolutely, Edwin. A good time was had. Always a pleasure doing this with you. From Abe David is goodbye.
Yeah, we'll see you same time next week. Do have a sporting weekend from me, Edwin Onyebolise. It is adios.